Welcome to the IIBA Tampa Bay, Florida chapter study group. Today is February 20th, 2025. This is our 152nd class. Today I'm going to be presenting a talk about the CBAP, the Certified Business Analysis Professional Certification Journey. And China, I'm going to make you co-presenter so that you can let people in.
Will do.
Thank you. Okay. My name is Thea Soehren. I'm president of this chapter. I'm also the vice president of career and professional development. All that means is I'm here to serve you. That is what my job is. So if you have any questions, if you want to reach out to me on LinkedIn, and I will be glad to help you, or you can reach out to me at the end of this meeting. We like to celebrate our wins. These are the folks that have reached out to say that our study group was beneficial and instrumental in them being able to pass their BABOK certifications. Ironically, we're going to be talking about BABOK certifications, and we're going to be getting ready to have our fourth round through the BABOK coming up very soon. I'll be talking about that in just a moment. This is our board of directors. We appreciate the work that they do to keep us on the air, keep the recordings going, keep everything ready for you. And so just give them a little bit of love. Our mission is to equip business analysts with knowledge, tools, and support needed to excel in their roles through targeted training, mentorship, and fostering a professional community. We empower business analysts to drive impactful decisions, collaborate closely with stakeholders, enhance organizational efficiency, and elevate the practice of business analysis because we are the Tampa Bay IIBA. Even though we're located in Tampa Bay, we have members and board members all over the world. Recently, we checked, we had over 200 members. And so what we want you to know is we don't care where you live. If you do not have an active chapter close to you, and you can't find an active chapter that you're interested in, you are welcome to join the Tampa Bay chapter. We have meetings every single week. In fact, we're getting ready to start a study group on top of the meeting. So we are an active chapter and we want to serve you. We have given ourselves several ways to serve you. One is the Thursday night study group from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. We record all of these and we have them on YouTube. You can see here's our YouTube channel. We also have Bob's Incredible Index. Bob Churchill has kindly put together an index, and I'll show you a piece of it in just a few minutes at rpchurchill.com. At that location, he's put it together by topic, by date, by speaker, and all of our practice test questions are in there by knowledge area. So Bob's Incredible Index is phenomenal, as is his website. We also have our chapter website at TampaBay.IIBA.org, where we have our events that are coming up, and the events of those who are our partners. These are our study group advisors, Bob Churchill and Esther. They have kindly agreed to try to participate in as many of these meetings as possible so that we can have the CBAPs on board. We have more CBAPs now, but these are our original advisors, and we do appreciate them. If you live in the state of Florida, we are looking to have some in-person get-togethers. We're hoping to create some branches. The idea is if you live, say, in Jacksonville or Pensacola or Orlando, and you want to have a get-together with other BAs, that we will have a branch meeting and y'all can have some in-person meetings. You can participate in our study group as a group, or you can have other meetings. Let me know if you're interested in that. Reach out to me on LinkedIn. Talking about the elephant in the room, we know that we have excellent business analysts that are looking for jobs. We also know that we have people out there that know where the jobs are. I have named myself the BA matchmaker, and I work really hard to connect the BAs to the jobs. If you have a job that you know is coming open or is open, please reach out and let me know so I can get it to those BAs that are looking. And if you're a BA that is looking, reach out to me and I'll do what I can to help you. We are partnered with several other associations. Last week we had lightning talks with the Tampa Bay Women in Agile and the Tampa Bay Product Group. We also work with several other IIBA chapters, including Ireland, the Philippines, and the Bluegrass chapters. We have a Director of Emerging Professionals. This is a person who's working with local colleges and universities, actually worldwide, to help these folks be able to graduate college with not only a college degree, but with a professional certification and a professional membership in association. If you're interested in participating in this and maybe getting a scholarship to be a member of the IIBA as a student, reach out to Kennedy or myself. Watermark Learning has given us a discount code on all of their products and classes. If you want to use it on one of their classes, you can work with them directly. If you want to use it on one of their products, reach out to me and I'll help you order it with this 40% discount. Adaptive US has also given us a discount code, 20% off any of their live classes or in-demand courses, excluding the IIBA exam vouchers. Coming up very soon is the Project Summit in Orlando. That's going to be in May, but right now you can get the early bird rates. If you would like to use one of this code and get the early bird rates, you'll get 10% off of their rates. We are very proud to say that Bob and Seamus are going to be at that location to tell people about our organization, and maybe we can do some good. Tonight, I'm going to be talking about the CBAP certification journey. And since I'm talking, I'm just going to skip over this for now, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. This Saturday, we are very excited to have one of our in-person events happening in Tampa Bay, Florida. In Durant Park, we're going to have a get-together at 10 o'clock to clean up the park. This means picking up trash, picking up cups, picking up cigarette butts, whatever there is. Cliff typically has some of those sticks with the spikes on the end to pick up things if you have trouble bending over and just want to walk. If you want to just visit while other people pick up, come on down. After the park cleanup, the park is about 4 football fields big. After that, we're going to go to a local eatery and have brunch. And then after that, Bob is going to take a walk if anybody wants to walk with Bob. I'm not going to be able to be there, but Cliff is going to be there. So if you're interested in that, you want to get more information, reach out. On the 25th, they're going to have a presentation on leveraging Azure AI services. If you're interested in AI at all, you need to know about Azure. So reach in for that. Next week, Jody Huss and I are going to be talking about a new technique, which is really a grouping of techniques, but a new method and it's called dysfunctional mapping. So I'm looking forward to that. Now to our presentation. Let me switch slides. Okay, let me know if you can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, skipping over who I am, y'all don't need to see that. This is what we're going to talk about today. Why would you want a certification? Let me get a show of hands real quick. Does anybody not know what the IIBA is and the benefits of being a member? If you know that already, I'll skip that part. Okay.
I would appreciate if you can describe a bit about the benefits.
Okay, I'll not skip that part then. Very good.
Thank you.
I'm sure that if one person speaks up, there's other people that didn't speak up. So I'll go through that. So what is the IIBA? Who belongs to the organization, benefits of membership, and how to become a member? Of the 3 certifications for the BABOK, which certification should I get? What does it take to earn the IIBA Business Analysis certification? Then I'm going to give you real strategies to study really well. This is a big deal. Then I'm going to give you strategies for taking the test. The test is a proctored exam. If you've never taken one, you need to know this. And then I've got some last thoughts. I've got a lot of slides here, so I'm going to ask you to hold your questions until I ask for them, and then come on and ask me verbally, because I can't watch this and the chat at the same time. Okay, let's get started. So first, we're going to talk about why would you want a certification? And I'm going to give you a disclaimer. This is my own experience. This is not a guarantee of success, and I cannot control factors like the outside factors, and certification is not magic. It is certification. Let me show you the logic of getting a certification, though. Much like a degree from the university, earning a professional certification is a distinguishing measure that means you've put in the extra work, given your time and money, and gained information others do not have. You're serious about the topic. Bonus if the coursework and test has a reputation as challenging, which this does. And you're focused on advancing yourself in your career. This is what a professional certification does. Now, let's consider, what if you were a hiring manager? You're looking at a group of people, they all bring their resume to you, or, virtually possibly. You have all these people, you've got all these resumes to go through, and you can say immediately, these people do not fit the criteria. They don't have this right citizenship, they don't live in the right area, something. And then there's a couple of others that don't fit the criteria. They don't have the qualifications that you're looking for. So you're left with this many people. So how do you distinguish which one you want to talk to as a manager for business analysis? Well, what if you knew these people belong to the professional organization that is the governing body for business analysis all over the world? And these people have additional certifications that they have put in their time and effort to earn and be able to pass a rigorous test. And on top of that, here's one who is a leader in a local chapter, which means not only does she have her certifications and her membership, she is working actively to help other people. Which one would you start looking at first? You go from this to this. Certifications are a big deal. Certifications for the IIBA also give you letters after your name, so it's obvious immediately that you have that certification. So let's go to this. The IIBA, the International Institute of Business Analysis, in 2024 put out a Global State of the Business Analysis report. In this, a large percentage of the people had their business analysis professional certification, almost half. Of those people, 95% of all of the people, 95% said that they would recommend a certification to support career development to any of their colleagues. Additionally, people that have earned their certification with our chapter have gone on, almost half of them have gone on to be leaders in either their local chapters or in this chapter, which means that they believe in it, they believe in the value so much that they're willing to give back to their community and put in their time and effort. To me, that says a whole lot. Additionally, if you get a certification, it's super easy to verify that you have that certification. This is an example of someone that I just found, a random person on the IIBA website. Anybody can go in and see that you have that certification. It's not your word. It's not you have a piece of paper or you can manufacture a piece of paper. You have the certification and it's been verified. Now, why get certified? According to that same study, CBAP holders earn 19% more on average. Now, this is average worldwide. CCBA holders earn 9% more, and ECBA holders earn 8% more. If you don't know what those letters mean, I will tell you that in a minute. But this is over their peers who are not certified and who are not certified respondents of the same survey. So let's talk about the different certifications. These numbers right here, again, are worldwide. So you're talking about first world, second world, and third world countries all combined to reach these. The average in the United States is higher than this typically. So again, we're making more than this shows, but this is pretty good to be able to show the distinction of the percentages more. Also, these are the 3 certifications that we're talking about. And then the IIBA has additional certifications that are of interest, but I would always suggest that you get your basics first. Now, going back to that same study, benefits of certification: higher confidence in work, ability to find a job, salary increase, upskilling, greater fulfillment at work, promotions, improving performance review ratings. You can see that that's pretty substantial percentages for each of those. Outside of that certification, here are other elements that I identified from looking at sites online. Salary negotiation advantage, professional recognition, international credentials, because we are the international governing body. It's applicable to all industries, which is normal for business analysis. You get a pretty high return on your investment. Long-term career benefits, employer preference, and marketability. So these are all the reasons that I would suggest that certification might be good for you. Jobs related to business analysis are projected to increase 11% between now and 31. So let me stop for just a second and say this. This is not an easy certification to earn. It takes for the CBAP, it takes 120 to 160 hours of study to be able to pass it. And that's typically reading through the book 3 times and studying. This is only valuable if it's valuable to you, if it's valuable to your current employer, or it's valuable to your future employer. If it's not valuable to any of y'all, you do not need to spend the 6 months working on earning the certification. But if it is, it's a good thing. There are additional benefits of studying the BABOK, and I'm going to go through that in a minute. But I want to just be real. This is not something for every single person. And very many people that take the courses from, say, Watermark or Adaptive, 20% of those people take the test and the rest of them never take the test. So not only are you competing with all the business analysts, even the people that are taking the test, you're still going to be head and shoulders above them if you take your test. Any questions so far?
Yeah, Thea, I have a question. With the
Yes.
advent of AI, I'm really interested in Gen AI. I took some courses right now, LinkedIn Learning, as well as through my current job. What's the future of BAs in AI?
Well, this is kind of a sidebar, but I'm going to go ahead and answer you. BAs are going to be working with AI. The BAs that don't learn how to work with AI are going to have trouble. But there are so many things that business analysts do that AI cannot do because we work with people and we understand people in a way that AI can't. AI can ask questions, they can give statistical results, but they don't have the people knowledge that we have. So I don't anticipate AI replacing us anytime soon, but I do expect that smart business analysts are going to learn how to work with AI. Thank you for that.
Yeah, thank
The
you.
estimated study hours needed for the ECBA, I'm going to guess that you're going to need at least 80 hours. Okay, let's move forward. So why would you want a certification? We answer that. What is the IIBA? I'm going to go through this pretty fast, but if I don't answer your question, please let me know. The IIBA is a worldwide professional organization, and there's about 30,000 members worldwide. We have about 120 chapters. That fluctuates a little bit. We have 1,500 members that run those 120 chapters, and we've got the 7 certifications. We've got conventions, we've got events, we've got all kinds of stuff. But we are the governing body that provides certification to say you are a qualified business analyst with a certification. You can be a very good business analyst and never get a certification, but it's kind of like proving that you have the knowledge. And it also gives you some benefits beyond the certification. So we talk about the BABOK. This is the BABOK. I helped write this book 10 years ago. It's got over 500 pages. It's full of stuff. It is the framework. It has best practices, tools, techniques. It is the cornerstone. You've got to know it to be able to pass the certification tests. And I'm going to encourage you that whenever you look at BABOK material, If you find things online that are quizzes, if you find material that says, here's a study guide, verify it's version 3. This is the 3rd version. There were versions before. There's material online that says, here's my flashcards for the BABOK, but it's not version 3. So be sure it's version 3. And if you need me to help you figure that out, I can show you where the differences are. The BABOK has been translated into multiple languages, and we're continuing to translate it because we've got people in countries that are hungry for this ability. The IIBA also, as a member, you also get access to other things like the core business analysis standards. You get their online library. This is 11,000 books that you can access online. Professional development tools, all kinds of good stuff there. And then member-only webinars. Here is the front page of the Knowledge Hub, which is, they've just incorporated AI into this so you can ask it questions. Then the online library, as I said, 11,000 books, including 9,000 online books and almost 2,000 audiobooks. One thing I like about having access to this is this statistic. Employees who have access to professional development are 15% more engaged in their job and perform at consistently high levels. I love that statistic. And IIBA connections, as a member of the IIBA, you belong to a single chapter. However, you have access to their chapters worldwide. You can see that it just goes on and on. There is always things to do. I took these screenshots a bit ago, but we still have good things going on right now. And of course, there is our own IIBA chapter in Tampa Bay. This is our chapter website, and here is our events, and we are working to make it better and better. So, what does it take to become a member of the IIBA? If you're in Region 1, which is the United States and Canada, it's $139. Region 2 is less, and Region 3 is less. I'm going to flash the regions here. Here's Region 1 countries, Region 2 countries, and Region 3 countries. Okay, now which certification should you get? Again, we are looking at certifications based on the BABOK. There are 3. The ECBA, this is the Entry Certificate to Business Analysis, ECBA. This is the CCBA, Certification of Capability. And then this is the Premier, the CBAP, Certified Business Analysis Professional. So this one recognizes individuals who are ready to develop their business skills. This one is for people who have some skills, and this one are people that have at least 5 years of experience. So why would you want one of these? This is what I pulled as of December 31st. The CBA has the least number of people, which means it probably has the least recognition as well. The CBAP has over 22,000 people worldwide. So that means that employers are more likely to know what a CBAP is. And then the ECBA is for people with absolutely no experience, and they have learned the BABOK and they're able to pass the test. So you can see we have over 14,000 people that have earned their ECBAs, which means it's gaining recognition worldwide. So for the ECBA, as I said, there's no experience required. The CBAP, you need to have 3,750 hours, which is in the last 7 years. And of those, they need to be divided into the different knowledge areas in this way. You need to have 21 hours of professional development, which are listed here in the different forms, and you need the 2 references. For the CBAP, which is again the premier certification, you need more, twice as much, 7,500 hours, which is about 5 years of experience in the last 10 years. So this means if you had a period of time off work and you weren't able to work, and you don't have to worry about it because it's the last 10 years that you're working with. With this experience, you need to have 900 hours as a minimum in 4 of the 6 knowledge areas, for a total of 3,600 hours. of the required 7,500. You need 35 hours of training in a combination of these, and of course the 2 references. Any questions on this? Let me say that if you didn't have the title business analyst, it doesn't matter. All you have to do is be able to present your experience in the business analysis language. If you're doing project management, don't use project management terms, use business analysis terms. And with a study of the CBAP, you can do that. If you were a teacher, if you were an analyst, if you were a trainer, if you were a supervisor, all of those things have elements of business analysis, and you can take those out of that role and put it in your application and see if you have enough hours.
I had a question about
Yes.
like proving your hours. Like, how would you like document that you have 900 hours in that particular skill?
We have a spreadsheet that we've created that helps you do that. And it's not a literal 900 hours, it's an estimated. For instance, I worked at this place for 3 years. I spent half of my time gathering and eliciting and extracting requirements. So I know that that comes in this one knowledge area. And so you say half of your time of 3 years, and the spreadsheet does a calculation for you, and it will tell you how many hours you have in that one knowledge area. And then you do the same for the rest of the knowledge areas. Does that answer your question?
Yes, and like your supervisor would have to sign off on that as evidence.
You do need one person that you worked with to be able to say, yes, this is true. They audit about 20% of the applications. Some of the applications, they will do a full audit, go check everything. Some of the applications, they don't audit the application, but they check your references. They send the email to your references and say, do you recommend this person for, with this information? And then there are other applications that they just say, yep, you're good. And there's no way to know which one you're going to be in. So prepare to do it right and be honest.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. It doesn't have to be your supervisor. There are situations where your supervisor is not the person that you want to ask because they were difficult to work with. You can have a coworker that will attest to it.
A quick question too.
Yes, Tibor.
So can you go back to the last screen?
Yes, I can.
Yeah. So if somebody gets the CCBA and then a few years later decides to get the CBAP, are the requirements the same as for somebody who doesn't have the CCBA already?
It is the same. Well, let me say it this way. You have the elevated requirements of the CBAP, but it takes your application from the CCBA and you can just build on it. So
Okay.
instead of 3,750 hours, you have 7,500 hours. That would be the requirement for the CBAP. As long as it's within 5 years of taking from the CBAP to the CBAP, you can just build on the same thing. It doesn't expire.
Okay, and maybe you have a little less to study because
It's a whole lot less study. You're studying the same material, and I'll explain the difference in the tests in just a few minutes, but it's the same material. And I would always encourage you that if you feel that you qualify for the CBAP, go ahead and study and take the CBAP. Don't put yourself through it twice. Okay, let's move on. We're going to talk about what does it take to earn the IIBA business analysis certifications. Again, you got to get the BABOK. You can get the BABOK from Amazon for, I think it's about $60. You can find used copies on Amazon. You can find used copies on ABE.com. You can find a friend that has a used copy. Phone a friend. But you have to have version 3, and you're going to need to have it. And there are versions online that you can get. If you're a member of the IIBA, you have a free version that you can get that's PDF. If you need a physical version because of the way you study, there are ways for you to get it too, though. Okay, I talked about the differences between the different certifications. To get the CBAP, you really have to do from 120 to 160 hours of study. Again, this is a rigorous test. This is not something that, I have people calling me saying, we'll take the test for you so that you can earn it. And it's like, no, you can't do that. This test is proctored. You can't have somebody else take it for you. And honestly, our integrity of those people that have earned the certification is damaged by that idea. Can courses on LinkedIn Learning fulfill the professional development requirements? Some of them can. There's a list online that will tell you what you need. You have to be able to take a test at the end of a course for it to fulfill it, in my understanding. Okay. Additionally, to be able to get the certification, there are fees. There's an application fee of $145. This is all Region 1 information. A $145 application fee. If you're a member, there's an exam fee of $350. If you're a non-member, it's $505. There is a corporate member rate that the corporation would pay for. And then if you needed to take it a second time as a member, it's $295, or as a non-member, it's $450. Now, just pointing
Yeah.
out that if you're an IIBA member and you've paid your $139 to be a member, you have saved yourself $155 here. So it pays for itself. That's Region 1 countries. Additionally, there are many organizations, corporations that are corporate members of the IIBA, and they get discounts. They get this corporate member, they get a certain number of people that they can send through the test free, things like that. 71% of the people in that study said that their employer pays for their membership. They pay for their professional development fees. Check to see if your employer does something like that. Any questions so far? Okay, I got lots more to tell y'all, so I'm going to keep going. Okay, going back to the BABOK, you know this is our cornerstone and you have to learn it, but how do you know if you've learned it? What we use in the Tampa Bay group that we're getting ready to start, our study group, is the Watermark Learning Practice Test Bank. This test bank allows us to select specific knowledge areas. There are 6 knowledge areas in the BABOK, or we can work on just underlying competencies or techniques or a combination thereof. In our classes, in our hour-long classes, we typically can go through 25 questions with conversation and talking about what makes it the right answer, what makes it the wrong answer, and we learn from each other. This is my favorite way to do it. I've used Watermark Learning for, I would probably say 500 different students. I've taught for the Ireland chapter, I've taught for the Philippines chapter, I've taught for the Tampa Bay chapter, and I didn't use Watermark Learning for the Kansas City chapter because I didn't know about it then, and I wish I learned about it. But it's been very effective. Watermark Learning is a little harder than the test, and it requires you to know the BABOK a little more stringently, which gets you ready for the test. Whenever you get the results from taking this test, it will tell you, for instance, if you choose all the knowledge areas and you get the results, it will tell you what your score is on each of how many questions you had and what the score is by knowledge area. So you can easily see, I'm low in strategy analysis. That's what I need to focus on. So it gives you your evaluation in a way that's actionable. Okay, strategies for study. My favorite strategy is to do it in a study group. I'm an extrovert. I like to do it in a group. And what I have set up for our upcoming meetings are this. We're going to have the CBAP study group start immediately after this normal Tampa Bay study group. So it's going to be 8 to 9:30 p.m. Eastern. And our normal meeting is 7 to 8. So we're just backing it up to that. We're going to start it on February 27th with an introduction and schedule in case anybody didn't attend this meeting today. Then on March 6th, we're going to go through the BABOK chapter 1 and 2. And this is the basics. This is the foundation that you've got to know for all the rest of this to make sense. On the 13th, we're going to go through chapter 9. We're jumping to the back to go through underlying competencies, and we're going to do practice test questions on that. It requires that you read it ahead of time and study it ahead of time to be able to evaluate your level of skill and understanding on underlying competencies. Then we're going to do the same thing on March 20th with Chapter 11 in Perspectives. Perspectives is basically Agile versus Waterfall and all of the flavors in between. But you need to understand that because it's referred to in the rest of all of this knowledge areas. Then in late March, early April, we're going to go through 2 weeks of business analysis, planning, and monitoring. Again, it requires you to study ahead of time to really be able to evaluate your level of understanding. 2 weeks on elicitation and collaboration, which is knowledge area chapter 4. 2 weeks on requirements lifecycle management, which is getting more complicated, more difficult. And then we're going to spend 3 weeks on strategy analysis, 3 weeks on requirements analysis and design definition. We're going to stop for a week and talk and get you through the application preparation and talk about submission. I'll give you the spreadsheet then. You need to understand the knowledge areas to be able to put in your application. That's why we're waiting to this point. And then your solution evaluation, we're going to go through that for 3 weeks. These 3 knowledge areas are typically considered the most difficult. That's why we're spending a week extra on these. However, 3 weeks is less time than I've spent in the past because I haven't spent an hour and a half on each of these classes. It's typically been an hour. I'm expecting that you're going to be doing your studying offline as well. And then on the 17th of July, we're going to talk about test taking strategies. I'm going to talk about how this test is laid out. Things like skip to question number 50 whenever you first start, because the first ones are all essay questions that are very, multi-page with graphs and 6 questions per scenario. It's very unnerving. So skip to question 50 to start and move on from there. We'll go through that information on July 17th. The next 5 weeks are going to be practice test questions on all of the BABOK. So you're going to be able to see how you're doing. Now, we're going to be using the Watermark Practice Test Bank during this. If you want to get your own subscription to it, they have 90-day subscriptions and longer. I can see about getting the discount on that as well. Okay, any questions on learning the BABOK? Okay, let's see. I highly recommend, and those people who are going to be members of our upcoming class will get this free as part of the fee for the class, the Watermark CBAP Certification Study Guide. So this is the BABOK, 500 pages of goodness. This is the Watermark book, 500 and something pages of goodness. The reason is because whenever I went through this, the BABOK was confusing in places. The Watermark book made it easy. But the Watermark book doesn't have all the details in it that the BABOK has. So having both of them, I think is a really good thing. I've had a lot of people tell me that it was the deciding factor in them feeling like they were capable and they really understood the knowledge. So we'll be sending that Watermark book out to all of our participants on that. It has 1,000 practice test questions with the answers. And I mean, it's like the test is here, and then a few pages later, it's the test with all the answers and explanations. It's great. Okay. Another thing that you might consider is, as I said, we have 140 hours on YouTube, and I told you about Bob's Incredible Index earlier. Bob's Incredible Index, you go to rpchurchill.com and click here on this link, and he has given us links to, here's our practice test questions by knowledge area. So I think we've got like 2 more hours on each of these now. But if you're working on chapter 3, you can go through this and listen to our conversation about, oh, you missed that word. That word means that it's got to be this answer. We learn from each other so much in these conversations and in our study group that it's just been invaluable, because the way I read something is not the way somebody else reads about it. And so the conversation shows us what the other people are observing, and we learn from each other. Additionally, on that index, we have all 50 of the techniques. The 50 techniques can be complex. And so not only do we have Bob's blog on each of the techniques, but we have 2 recordings that explain the technique in more detail. Let's see. I have my CBAP. I would need to go through the study group. If you have your CBAP, why don't we talk afterwards? Additionally, on that same site, we have a list of people that have come on and said, I just took my test. This is what surprised me. This is what I wish I'd known. And so that is very enlightening as you get ready to take it yourself. We also have a bunch of other people that have come on to talk about different topics. So getting back to the BABOK and certifying and the application. So should you learn the BABOK or apply first? I said earlier, you've got to learn the BABOK, and this is why. You've got the 6 knowledge areas. You've got to know the knowledge areas to be able to fill out your application properly. Any questions on that? Okay, so let's talk about things you need to do for yourself. You need to identify your learning style. Whatever learning style worked for you whenever you were in high school or college or whatever worked, go back to it. I tried a couple of different learning styles, a couple of different methods, and it's like, you know what? It's not working. And I felt dumb. I felt like something's wrong. Maybe my brain cells are too old or something. I went back to what I did in high school, guys. It worked. What I did, literally, I got my composition books and I wrote about it like I had to teach somebody else. I wrote it out like I was teaching somebody that this would be what I would be using to teach them, all the details, and it worked. So I needed that. So figure out your learning style. Also, what time of day do you learn best? This is true learning. This is deep. You got to be able to retain this knowledge for more than just 30 minutes. So you need to figure out what time you learn best. You need to think about, do I need music on in the background? Do I need it quiet? Figure that out. Also, you might need a mix of learning on your own and learning in a group. Identify what you need there and give you what you need. And then, of course, if you're kinesthetic and you need to highlight and make notes and look at this. This is me being kinesthetic and visual. I need all this stuff. I need all the highlights. I need the symbols. I need the stars. It's what I needed to learn. You figure out what you need to learn because I want you to be successful. And last but not least, be kind and patient with yourself. Beating yourself up doesn't do any good. Okay. Any questions? All right, next slide. Study kits. You create your own study aids. This is a lot of detail, and leaving it in the book by itself, I couldn't learn it that way. I had to look at it from different perspectives. So I created all kinds of study aids, and other people have done the same. This is one of them I created by knowledge area. Here's by task. And so here's the purpose. Here's the inputs. Here are the elements with the explanation of each. Here are the guidelines and tools. You've got to know them. You've got to know them. I can't say that enough times. You got to know, what are the inputs into this task? How do I do this task? What are the elements of this task? What are the outputs of this task? Who are the stakeholders that are involved in this task according to the BABOK? What does the BABOK say about it? And then what is the output? What does the output do? What is it made for? You've got to be able to know all these things about the BABOK. And making your own study aids like this was essential for me. In fact, I have different color codes and fonts so that I can easily see how things flowed from one to another, where it was in multiple places. It helped me think, business needs are only an input into 4 different tasks. That's interesting. Let me think about why those 4 different tasks need business needs and nothing else needs business needs. You've got to create your own study aids. Also, if you're fortunate enough to be able to have your books rebound, take it to Kinko's or someplace like that, and have them cut off the binding and turn it into spirals, this is the organization I would suggest you do it. First of all, spiral is real easy to lay it out flat. These books, you can't lay them out flat very easily. You kind of have to fight it, trying to, get it to where you can get all the way down into it. So I would do one with chapters 1, 2, 9, and 11. I would do another one that's chapters 3 through 8, which are the knowledge areas. And I would do a third one that are techniques. And the reason for this is while you're in the knowledge area, you're also going to be needing to look at the techniques on the side and not have to go back and forth. You need to be able to lay them both out. Knowledge area, the chapters 1, 2, 9, and 11 are really just reference. You're not going to need those as much after you finish going through them. But these two, you're going to go through constantly. And you need to be able to look at both of them at once. So if you can do this, not everybody can, but if you can do this, I think it's a really smart thing to do. Have them put hardcovers on it. They know exactly how to do this. They do it all the time. Since you're going to have both books, I would have both books bound the same way in the same organization. Okay, I want to address this. We call this a BABOK. We call it that all the time. And I've heard 50 times people say it's the business analysis book of knowledge. It's the business analysis body of knowledge. And if you say book of knowledge and somebody else goes, you don't know what you're talking about, it's going to be embarrassing for you. And I don't want that to happen. So I'm pointing it out. It's the body of knowledge. Now let's talk about the BABOK structure. And I know I'm going through this fast, guys, but I got so much to tell you. The BABOK structure, we talked about these were going to be the very first ones, and then we're talking about these last knowledge areas are chapters 3 through 8. These are the ones we're going to go through in the first 3 weeks. Then the knowledge areas. This is the guts that you're going to have to learn, in detail for the test. Let's talk about how it's organized though. Taking just the very first one, chapter 3, business analysis, planning and monitoring. It and all the other knowledge areas are divided into this organization. It's got knowledge areas. They have tasks. The tasks have inputs, outputs, guidelines, and tools, stakeholders, and elements. So here are a list of the tasks that are in chapter 3. It's organized 3.1. You got your plan business analysis approach, 3.2, etc. You need to know, you're going to end up memorizing the knowledge areas, what the tasks are in each one, and more. Each task, however, is also organized into logical sections. There's purpose, definition, inputs, elements, guidelines and tools, techniques, stakeholders, and outputs. You'll end up memorizing it, and you need to. It's the way to really get it in your head so you can pass the test. And then you'll see this in the BABOK. This is how it talks about flow. Your inputs are your needs, and they flow into your task. The guidelines and tools also flow into your task. And then you have your outputs, and this is what you come out with. This is just part of what you're going to need to memorize, but it gives you some visuals that are pretty good. On top of the knowledge areas and the tasks are another way to look at the BABOK, and we call it the BACOM. The BACOM is changes, solutions, context, value, stakeholders, and needs. It basically is each of those for each of the different knowledge area. It tells you how that knowledge area, how it addresses needs, how that knowledge area addresses changes, has solutions. It's a different way to look at it to help you solidify your understanding. We'll walk through that as we walk through our study group as well. So the benefits of studying the BABOK, even if you're an experienced business analyst, you'll be reminded of things to consider that maybe you hadn't considered in a while, and it will make you better at your job. You'll be reminded of techniques that you might consider using. You're going to look at your work more strategically rather than just down in the weeds. And you maybe will discover some things that you could be doing better. It will make you a better BA. Several people that I've worked with in study groups have passed their CBAP, and then they said, I'm keeping this on my desk so I can refer to it because sometimes I need to be reminded. Those are the very best BAs I know. So I'm pretty impressed whenever they decide that this is a good thing. So study hints. Understand how it's organized. The knowledge areas, even though there's 6 of them and it looks like it should be sequential, they're not. They may overlap each other, and we'll talk about that as we go through our study group. The BABOK experience aligns to your experience about 90%, which means there are things in the BABOK that says this is who you would use or this is what you would do. Doesn't line up with the way I would do it. But if I were to go into a brand new company and that's the way they did it, that's how I would have to learn it. That's what you have to learn for the BABOK to be able to pass the test. So it's not wildly off and it's not bad. It's just a little different than the way I would do it. But remember, this was built for a worldwide audience, so they had to make it generic. The CBAP test presents scenario-based questions. It's like, this is the situation, this is the conditions, this is the problem, and then it's multiple choice. You need to relate the concepts in the BABOK to the scenarios. So the best way to learn it and to be able to answer those questions is, as you learn the concepts, go ahead and relate it to a scenario. It's like, oh yeah, in this project, I did it that, and so this is what it's talking about. It allows you to hook it onto something that you really understand. It's a whole lot easier to remember, but you need to be able to relate the concepts to scenarios. Read the questions carefully. It is common to miss words. I can't tell you how many times in study groups somebody will say, I totally missed that word, or I thought that I missed the not, or I missed the, I misread that word. Read the questions carefully. In fact, whenever you take the test, you might end up reading the questions twice just to be sure you really got it. Check yourself. As you read the questions on our practice test questions, we're going to identify which knowledge area it is and which task it is before we continue, because I found that people really, they narrow down their options that way. And here's a great example. For this question, which of the following outputs will identify the stakeholders who will be responsible for setting priorities? According to the BABOK, there's only one answer. So what are we going to do? We're going to identify what the knowledge area is. For this one, it's going to be business analysis, planning, and monitoring. In that, there's only 5 tasks that it could be. So from this, we know if it's going to be the stakeholder responsible for setting priorities, we know that it's got to be number 3, plan, business analysis, governance, because the governance approach is what identifies who sets priorities. And then from the governance approach, we know now that we've narrowed it down to that one task, there's only one output. We're talking about outputs here. So we know that it's got to be governance approach. Sometimes it's that easy if you know your BABOK. But in case it's not quite that easy, what if there's 3 outputs? The next hint is identify the critical words in the question. If it says technique, input, output, guideline, stakeholder, it's being very specific and intentional. In this case, it used the word output. So we know it's an output of a task. And then we're going to go in and we're going to eliminate any wrong answers. So looking at our answer list, we're going to go and say it couldn't be these 2. They don't make sense. They're in the wrong place. They're for something else. So it gives you, if you didn't know any of the rest of it, it gives you 50% chance that you could guess right. So that is going to increase your opportunity to get it correct. And then we answer governance approach, and the watermark, as you see, it tells you here's the reason it's right, and it gives you the reference to go to. Had we answered the wrong answer, it would give us the correct answer here, and it would also give us the wrong answer. Very often, it doesn't give a great example of why it's the wrong answer, but because we know where to go to, it's really easy for us to say, okay, now I know what I need to go back and study. Okay, every time you get an incorrect answer, it's a gap discovered. It's not a bad thing. It's just make note of what you need and don't spend time beating yourself up. So in the BABOK certification, we know what the percentage of each knowledge area are in the different tests. For instance, chapter 7 is 30% of the CBAP. So we know that we need to do really well on chapter 7. However, you need to get a minimum score in all of the knowledge areas to be able to pass, in my opinion. That officially they say it's an overall score, but I've seen too many people, it's like they got good scores in all the knowledge areas except 2 and they didn't pass. Oh, let's see. Okay, next thing. Strategies for taking the test. We know that for the CBAP, it's going to be 120 questions. It's 3.5 hours. You got plenty of time. With the CCBA, it's 130 questions, and it's a little bit easier questions. They're still scenario-based, multiple choice, and you've got 3 hours. Or the ECBA, it's only 50 questions, and you only have 1 hour. These are pretty much knowledge-based. For instance, where I don't know what, I've never taken the ECBA. I would say it's something like whenever you do elicitation, which knowledge area are you using? I'm guessing at that. Strategies for taking the test. Plan your date from the very beginning. Go ahead and set your target date, realizing that you need to set it out a way so that you can be sure you get the right number of hours. Make the commitment, and as soon as you can, make your appointment with the IIBA, which means that you've turned in your application and you set your reservation. Once you turn in your application, you've got a year to set your date and take the test. However, if you wait too long, there are so many people I know that I'll do it later, and they've lost the information that they studied. Don't do that to yourself. As I said, it takes 120 to 160 hours to be able to accumulate the right amount of knowledge to be able to pass your CBAP. And that would be between now and the end of our study group, about 6 hours a week. And that gives you also the right number of education credits to be able to put in your application. I would also say be consistent. I've seen so many people that they took the week of Thanksgiving off and then they went back and they were like, I feel like I forgot everything. And it's giving yourself a roadblock or a speed bump. You don't need to do that. Just spend the time consistently. Don't give yourself an opportunity to lose it. Okay, the application itself, you've got to have information from your resume. So you need to have your resume ready. You will enter all your experience again from the BA perspective. I have the spreadsheet that makes it a whole lot easier for you. Once you begin your application on the IIBA website, you have 7 days before it's locked down in that experience, and you cannot edit it. I suggest that you get it set up on your spreadsheet and then just drop it in. It's a whole lot easier, and you know you've got it right. Immediately upon submitting your application, the emails will be sent to your references. So they not only need to say that they will be references, but they need to understand what they're going to be receiving at a high level and be ready to respond within about a week. You can take the test at a proctored location or from home. I suggest a proctored location. If you take it from home, you've got to have nothing on your walls, no books in the room. They will make you move the camera so they can see under the desk. They can see there's nothing in the drawers. I've had people that told me that they took the test in a bathroom or a hallway because that way it was easy for them. But additionally, they will require that they can get access to your computer. And sometimes you have virus stuff and firewalls, things that make it difficult. You don't want to have that problem. A proctor test also means that all the time you're taking the test, they're going to be watching you. If you go to a proctored location, you know they're watching you. They're watching you on your camera. They're watching you everywhere else. At a proctored location and in person, they're going to tell you to pull up your sleeves so they can see that you don't have anything written on your arms or in your sleeves. They're going to want you to pull up your pants legs. They're going to want to look underneath your hair if you have long hair. They will look in your ears and behind your ears. They will check your glasses to be sure they're not smart glasses that will give you information. They will check everything. They will make you prove that the screen that's on the wall is not a smart screen that somebody can be giving you answers. Just go to a proctored location. That means you're going to go to a place that you've got a cubicle and a screen and a monitor and a mouse, and they will give you a calculator on screen. You just do your thing there, and they give you the password, and they take care of it. I prefer a proctored location, although if you've never done it, go to the proctored location that you're going to be using and kind of say, can I ask some questions? Can I look around? Can I see what it is? When you go in there, they will take your phone, they will take your wallet, they will put it in a bag, zip it up and lock it, and then they will give you back the bag so you can't get to it. Drop it on the back of your chair, but just understand you're not going to have anything with you. No food, no anything. And you can take bathroom breaks. I prefer proctored for the reasons that they take care of the details. I don't have to worry about it. Okay. You learn from just taking the test. You learn how the test environment will be set up. You know what the test is like. You know how to navigate through the UI. So you learn from taking the test. If you have test anxiety, if you've never taken a proctored test and you're challenged, you might not pass the first time. It won't kill you. I promise. So if you don't pass the first time, go ahead and have a strategy. Just have a strategy. It doesn't hurt to have a strategy. My strategy was immediately write down any questions that I thought I was challenged on. That way I've got a list. I can study it later. Go home and register to take it in 1 week and then spend that week studying. Don't put it off because you'll lose data. Study for that week and then retake the test. Registering to retake a test is cheaper. That fee is cheaper than registering to take the test initially. Okay, last thoughts, and I know I'm at time, but I got to tell you this last part. If you are, this is Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and basically up at the top, you're on the mountaintop, you're doing great, you can learn, you can create, life is good. This part down here is what I call living in the pits. You're worried about losing your job, you're worried about somebody being sick. You have challenges here. It's very hard whenever you're down here to learn and to create. Beating yourself up for not being able to do those two things whenever you're not on the mountaintop is not going to be beneficial. If you're on the mountaintop, is the best time to study for your test. While you have a job is the best time to study for your test and take your test. Don't wait until, oh, I'll wait until the layoffs happen. You're stressed. You can't think, you can't learn. Don't do that to yourself because while you're down here, it's a really hard time to learn. So give yourself every single advantage to be able to learn what you need to. I encourage you to get involved in a study group. Having a group of consistency really is beneficial to the people that have been in my study groups. If you don't like my study group, there are 50 others out there. And I have other resources that I can send you if you need it. But you do need to get some kind of resources and consistency and study. So we are at time, but I'm going to go ahead and take some questions. Does anybody have any questions? Come off mute and let's talk.
Could you go back to the slide that has like the required hours for each certification?
I can. Let me zoom back through that. I think it is. I had a lot of slides, didn't I? This is studying, and this is right here.
Right there. Okay.
So what is your question, sir?
Okay, so the ECBA is the entry level,
Yes,
and then you can build from there, like
you
the hours
can.
that
And I
you have.
know people that have taken this class this test because they were afraid to take the next one. And then a week later, they went and took this one because they qualified for it once they passed the ECBA. But if you qualify, if you have this much experience and you're going to do the work anyway, go ahead and take this one. So which one do you qualify for based upon your experience?
I would really have to reflect because, like I said, I'm in teaching and I'm trying to transition. So I was leaning on the ECBA just to kind of get my foot in the door. But I
Okay.
guess if I analyze my experience, maybe I could see if I apply to the higher level.
I guarantee as a teacher, you identified requirements, you created your lesson plans, which would be requirements. You created materials for your students. You worked with your stakeholders, which are your students, your faculty, your fellow teachers. You checked the results of your tests and the homework, which is doing a testing, and then you check to see what you could do better. Am I right?
Yes.
That's all business analysis. You just didn't have the vocabulary that we're using. You just need to obtain that vocabulary. And I pretty much guarantee, how long have you been teaching?
13 years.
I pretty much guarantee that we can give justification because every single project that you've done, every single volunteer thing that you've done, all the teaching that you've done, so many things. We can show you how that is business analysis.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Before I became a business analyst, I worked in the Air Force for about 12 or 13 years. I was a non-commissioned officer, so I was in charge of managing resources, managing junior people, like junior enlisted people. I came up with training plans, and also I manage a QA safety program. So how does that fit into business analysis?
That's all business analysis.
Okay.
Let's talk about you creating those plans. You identified the problem.
Mhm.
You identified what needed to be done to fix it. You got your stakeholders on board, got them all to agree that you were on the right path. You know, your officers said, yes, go ahead and do that, right?
Yes.
And then you executed it. You kept track of everything. You kept the records that said this has been done, this has been done, this has been done. You took the results of your testing, and then you provided the results of your testing, and you probably said, oh, this is what we can do better next time. Does
Yeah.
that sound familiar?
Yeah, because there was like this training program in my career field, so we were trying to revamp it, try to reduce the training time, trying to save the military money.
That is all business analysis. Now, the only thing that we're going to have challenges with is you need to have it in all the knowledge areas. So we need you to really understand the knowledge area to be able to apply. What I did here is solution evaluation. Whenever you evaluate a solution that's in place, what I did here is elicitation. You know, I got information from people.
Right.
You do that in almost every profession. You just don't have the vocabulary. We just have to relate your experience over the last 10 years into business
Right.
analysis.
Mhm. Understandable. Thank you, Thea.
You're very welcome. Anybody else?
Could you please suggest any simulator for CBAP exam? Which simulator is best for tech preparation for CBAP exam? Basically, I'm planning to give my CBAP exam in next May. So
Okay.
I want this information. If you have, you can share me. Which simulator helps me to make my preparation good to pass in the exam?
The one that I like to see the most is the watermark exam prep.
Watermark. Yeah. You already said about you have some discount code. You can, if you,
Yes. For watermark, we have a 40% discount, and I'll see if I can get that for the exam for you.
okay. Can I get the discount code?
Yes, the discount code. Let me switch presentations real quick. Are you surprised I have too many presentations open? The discount code is going to be Tampa 21. Slideshow from current slide. Here's the discount code. But I need to approach them directly to see if I can get that discount for you. Right now, they are giving the public discount for their courses if you use this, but for their products, I have to do it myself. If you'll send
Thank
me
you.
a note on LinkedIn, I'll see if I can make that connection for you.
Okay, I'll send LinkedIn invitation to you.
Yes, Perfect.
Thank
Okay,
you.
you're very welcome. Does anyone else have any questions?
Hello, this is Inez.
Hello,
Me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. I'm also interested in the discount. Is that the discount for the mock test?
The practice test questions, I'm going to send me something on LinkedIn if you want a discount on the practice test questions, and I'll see what I can do. I've got to contact them and see. The person that would answer the question left today on vacation. He won't be back until I think the 15th. So I won't have the answer until then. But I'll see if there's somebody else that can answer that question.
Yes, because I am on the position that you mentioned before. I took the 35 hours classes and
Okay.
I already applied. And because of I was like studying, but then I stopped. Then came the hurricane. And my last day to take the exam is April 28th.
Okay.
So I'm behind studying, but I'm think I can do like 2.5 hours daily. That's what I have proposed myself. But
Okay.
I wish I could hear about this study group before. And at the end, I would like to get that mock test from Watermark.
Okay. Okay, very good.
Yeah. And this study group, how are you gonna explain how it's gonna work? How much do we have to pay?
Yeah. The study group, as I said, let me see if I can show that slide.
Oh, because yes, I just signed in like 15 minutes after it start.
Okay, this is the study group. It's going to start on the 27th and it's going to go until the middle of August. And you get the Watermark study book with it, and the total fee is $100.
Oh, for the study group? Wow.
Yes, ma'am.
That's pretty good.
Well, there are other chapters that charge 3.5 times that much, and their track record isn't as good as ours. So I feel like it's a pretty good deal.
Oh, yeah, it is. Okay. So I'm gonna think if I can join, but at the end, I need to be ready for April 28th. So I don't know if you have any other suggestion.
Yeah, we've got, as I said, we've got, might not have been here. I've got probably 25 hours, 20 hours, 25 hours of test questions conversation on YouTube that we can give you access to, that you can go through all those test questions and hear people talk about why this is the right answer or why this is not the right answer, and it will help you learn.
Okay. So do I have to pay for that?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you so much. I'm going to connect with you in LinkedIn. My name is Inez, so I can
Okay,
get
Ines.
all that resources. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. My pleasure. We are here to make every one of you successful, and
Wow.
that's my goal.
Thank you. That's the best news for me today.
Good, good.
How I get you from in LinkedIn? Can you please share your name? Yeah.
I will. Let me go to the very beginning slide. I'm just gonna go all the way back.
Okay, just this slide has missed.
I need slides in different places, don't I? Ah, there I am. Okay, here is who I am. You can find me on
Okay,
LinkedIn.
thank you. I'm Abdullah from Bangladesh. I'll send my request to you.
Okay. I'm so glad that y'all joined us. I don't care where you live. If you want to be a better BA, if you want to earn your certification, that's what we're here for.
How do we
We will
sign
have
up for
opening the applications to join the study group on our website in the next few days, and we'll put out things on LinkedIn about that. If you want me to be sure that you get a link to it, let me know on LinkedIn as well, and I'll be sure that you get a link to it. $100 for a study group that lasts 4 months. It's going to be an hour and a half every day. a lot of chapters do study groups that are 3 hours a day or 4 hours a day. I heard about one that was from 9 to midnight every time they had a study group. I can't learn that long. I need an hour and a half chunk. And this way it's consistent on Thursday nights, and we will meet the same people will be in the study group. We're going to learn together. We're going to learn from each other, because you're going to see stuff in a way that somebody else doesn't see. We need you to bring that insight into the study group. Okay, any more questions? All right, ladies and gentlemen, I look forward to hearing from each of you. I want to be sure that we are providing whatever services you need. If there's something else that you need, reach out to me on LinkedIn as well. Okay? I hope to see y'all next week, and I'll talk to you then.
Thank
Bye.
you.
All right.
Thank you,
Miss
Thea.
Thea,
Oh,
would-
Everyone.
yes.
should I still wait?
I'm sorry. Oh, yes. I told you I'd talk to you afterwards. Yes, let's
Okay,
talk.
fine.
Okay,
You
thank
already have your
Bye.
CBAP certification, correct?
Yes, please. Yeah. For now, I do have
Okay.
it.
And how long has it been since you earned it?
Close to a year. I studied for it and I just got it, and I didn't know how to I didn't use it because I was new in the country. So I've not really used it. And I tried to reach out, but I couldn't find out anybody who would help me with it until I just got an email, I think about last week. And then I have to just join this meeting.
Okay. So let me be sure I understood. You've earned your CBAP, is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're new in the country.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Okay. And so what you need to do for the CBAP is you have to take some education hours so that you can maintain your CBAP over the next 2 years.
Okay.
There's nothing that you have to do immediately to be able to keep your CBAP. Are you asking me about something other than your CBAP?
No, just that I just want directions as to what to do to just keep it actually.
Okay. There is a let me just stop sharing in slideshow. Let's see if I can get it for you real quick. I've got too many things open. Okay, let's look at this. For the IIBA, this is going to be a under certification,
Mm-hmm.
recertification.
Okay.
This is what you need to know. So you have your CBAP and you want to recertify it, and it says that you need to earn, let's see, is that for the right thing? You need to log your CDUs, and I'll show you mine. I think it's going to take you to mine. So this is my login. You're going to see the same thing for yourself. And you log in your CDUs, which are your education hours. Well, let's see. Certification, log my hours. So here is where you put in what you've done, things that are professional development. There's a manual that explains what is a professional development. You have your work history, you got your professional activities, volunteer service. You basically just, for instance, volunteer service, you would say new, you put in your information and identify which of the knowledge areas that it applies to. You have your start date, your end date, your total number of hours, and then you save it. So over the next 2 years, you need to have a certain number of CDUs. Just put them in here. As long as you are over what you need at the end of, at that time, it will continue. And I don't think that there's a fee that you have to pay. I'm not positive, but you do need to have your CDUs earned. So you can join our study group if you want to, or you can get your CDUs in other ways.
Okay. Okay. If I join the study group, how how do I count it in the various areas?
Well, in the various areas, let's see, that's going to be professional development. And I think you can get 30 hours in professional development total. I'm not sure about CDU, but you'd basically put your study group in professional development. And whenever you get your maximum professional development, you can see if it applies to professional activities, self-directed learning. There's a couple of other options that you might have.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. All right. I'll look
Then-
into this part of it. I've never actually just seen this part, so I'll look into it.
Okay. All
Okay.
right.
All right.
If you have trouble finding that book that explains how to define the different groups, let me know and I'll help you find it. Okay.
Yes, please. I'll be very glad. I'll actually I've sent a message on LinkedIn, so I'll connect with you, and then if there's any issue, I'll just
That's
maybe talk
perfect.
to you. Okay.
LinkedIn is my communication tool of choice.
All right. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're very
I think
welcome.
that'll
Welcome
be
to the
all for me,
country.
right?
I'm sorry, say that again.
I'm saying that'll be all for my side, right? That'll be all I can do since I've already earned the CBAP certification.
You've already earned it, right?
Yeah. So no
Okay,
need. I just need to just get my CDUs and then that'll be all, right?
great.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you very, very much.
You're very welcome. Does anyone else have any questions?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
How do you change your region at IIBA? You know?
I sent you a note on that. Contact the IIBA and tell them where you live. They may have used the chapter that you belong to instead, but it should be based upon where you're located.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah. Oh, I just had a real quick question.
Yes, Laura.
I already have my my CBAP, sorry. But I would like to get my data analytics this year.
Okay.
Are we doing any classes or anything to help with that?
The Tampa Bay group isn't going to be doing classes on data analytics during the first half of the year. We haven't planned the second half of our year. However, I think the Bluegrass chapter has it.
Okay.
And there are a couple of other chapters that have data analytics, but I'm pretty positive the Bluegrass chapter has one coming up. Let me just check that real quick. He was in my class. Let's see. Events calendar.
Yeah, that class that you're doing is so much cheaper than the class I paid for. I just need you to know. Like to get my CBAP, I paid a lot more. Well, technically my company paid a lot more, but
Yep. Typically they're about $350 for the chapters or like $1,500 for an organization.
Yeah, mine was an organization.
Okay, let's see. I'm pretty sure it's coming up here.
Well, I can look it up. I don't want to hold you too late. I just wasn't sure if there was something on the books for the
Look
Tampa
at,
chapter
here
or
it
not.
is, data analytics for
Oh,
the
right
business
there.
analysis. Let me see. I'll let you look into that because here's a whole workshop and I bet you it ends with the certification test.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay.
All right.
Very
Thank you
good.
so very much.
You're welcome. Tell people about us.
I'm trying to get, so I am technically okay, not technically. I am acting supervisor for a brand new BA group.
Okay.
And so I'm pushing to have all of my new BAs get certified and join either their local chapter or this chapter. Because I would like for all of us to be on the same page. So when I use BABOK terminology, they don't look at me like I have three heads.
Oh my goodness. That is like the number one reason to read the book, right? So
Yes.
that we all are using the same words and whenever I see swim lane diagram, you know what I mean. And I know that you know what I mean, right?
Exactly. So,
That is
I'd
so
hired
true.
one BA that told me she was a IIBA member, but as I really need to figure out how to verify that because I should have verified
I
that
can show you.
before because she is not.
Okay, so if you go to the IBA org and you sign in and you go to, I think it's membership. I thought it was membership. Maybe I'm wrong. No, let's go to my IIBA. I think it's right here. I am losing where it's at, but there's a way on here to find who's a member.
Is there? Okay.
Yeah, there is. I tell you what, Laura, send me something on LinkedIn and I'll find it for you and I'll send it to you.
Okay, that'd be great.
I mean,
Thank you so
don't tell me
very
her
much.
name necessarily, but I'll send you how to get there.
Okay. Yeah, that would be great because I'm hiring for another one. So,
Oh, good.
well, it's
good.
a PMBA role. It's an entry level PMBA role. I'm just waiting for it to rec. And once I get the rec for it, then I'm going to send it over to you so you can put it on the job
Please
board.
do. I
Um,
probably have 4 people. Is it virtual or in person?
so it is. So here's where the hard thing about it is, right? Is that I work for the government,
Uh-huh.
and with the current executive orders,
Uh-huh.
as of today, we are remote.
So, but
So
the people that I know that work for the government are scrambling because they have to be in the office 5 days a week from now on. So
yeah,
you
so
may be
I'm on a
Zoom.
contract. So I'm contracted with the government. So currently we are not impacted with that piece of it.
Okay.
However, due
So
to
for right now it's remote, but
of
where are
executive
you
orders.
located just in
Yeah.
case?
So it is located in Nevada,
Okay. All
like
right.
in that North Las Vegas area.
Okay. I guarantee I've got 14,000 someone, almost 15,000 people in my network. I
Okay.
could probably help you find a couple of people. I can't tell you that they're all qualified because some people I just know through LinkedIn, but I can
Yeah.
help you find the people.
Okay. Yeah, I am. Like I said, we're waiting on the recs right now because of the political climate. I think that it's being held up a little bit.
Yeah, I
So
understand that.
once we can get that, get it wrecked, then yeah, my plan is to send it over to you. I've also got a couple PM roles that are coming available. I figured I'd send to them because I think that in that job board, it's PMs, BAs, and so.
Yes, it is. And I've got the best PM I know that is looking for a job right now.
Oh, really? Perfect. Because we need some good ones.
Oh, he's phenomenal. I worked with him at KPMG and he navigated some treacherous waters with me, and he did it with a smile on his face most of the time.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah. So yeah, once I get those recs, I'll definitely send those over. I just
Okay.
need a way to verify that the next BA I hire doesn't just know some IIBA keywords.
I understand. If you, I
Mm,
think in the government, you probably couldn't let me help you interview, but I'd be happy to if that would
I
be.
wish I could.
I do have a list of areas that I have a criteria for. You need to
Okay.
know all these things to go to apply for a job. I'll be
Oh,
glad to
okay.
send it to you.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. All right. I'll do anything I can to help, Laura.
All right. Thank you so very much.
You're very welcome.
All right. We'll talk soon.
Okay.
All
Bye.
right. Bye.
Anybody else have questions? Okay, I will close out the meeting. I hope to see y'all in the study group. I hope to see you in the future meetings. And if there's something I can do, please reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.